Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. I'm your host, Lonnie Jones, and the adventure part is basically just our experiences. And some of those experiences are as mundane as growing up, being married, being a young married couple with a kid, or being a middle-aged couple with grandkids. Some of the experiences will be my adventures as an outdoorsman, a rock climber, a fisherman, a hunter, or my experiences as a police chaplain who's been assigned to a SWAT team for over 30 years. Some of that adventure may even boil down to the idea that there's a belief that I'm a chaotic Jedi. Either way, we'll take the experiences or the adventures and we'll talk about the facts. The facts will lead to concepts, and the concepts lead to application. Basically, it will be anecdotal wisdom. One cautionary word about the facts is we will tell you the facts just as they happened, but sometimes we'll tell you the facts the way we remember them happening, and sometimes we'll tell you the facts the way we've heard other people tell us the way they remember them happening. In any occasion, it's not an attempt to deceive. There'll be a little bit of embellishment, and it's an all good, clean fun and for learning purposes only. Thank you for keeping up with Jones. Introducing the Bible degree with digital ministry. Paul used the marketplace and the synagogue to reach an expanded audience. We have access to the internet and social media. I once heard it said that when McDonald's introduced the drive-through window, they did not change the Big Mac, only how it was delivered. Faulkner University is now offering a new digital ministry track for their Bible degree. Faulkner's degree provides training in understanding and teaching the gospel, alongside training that will allow students to create quality digital content. Opportunities for evangelism in the digital spaces is unlimited, and this is innovative ministry education for our contemporary culture. One of the instructors is a two-time Emmy-winning former ESPN designer. Members of the Church of Christ could be eligible for the full tuition Jacque Scholarship in order to pursue this special area of study. For more information, contact admissions at faulkner.edu. That is admissions at faulkner.edu. Faulkner University is a digital partner with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. It was early in the morning and we were in the alchemy lab yet again. My sweet wife turned self-styled homesteader was standing there at our kitchen counter, and she was concocting some more sourdough bread. Now, this recipe that she uses and the thing that she does with her bread making, it's not on the same level as turning water into wine, but she turns goop into bread. She's getting really good at it, but every now and then, every so often, it doesn't work the way it's supposed to work. And using the words of my friend Mark Plemons, it doesn't turn out as leavened bread or unleavened bread. It basically turns out as uneven bread. Well, on this particular morning in this chemistry lab, Professor Dumbledore is explaining to me how she could make her own vanilla extract. In all fairness, I can't fault her. I like basic, simple things. When I climb trees to hunt, I don't use mechanical devices like jumars and rope walkers and camming devices. I like to climb using just very simple friction hitches. And I spend a lot of time in the woods. I spend a lot of energy roaming the woods to bring home venison, lean meat, when I could just as easily sleep in, stay warm, and get meat from the butcher shop. That being said, we may have gone a little far. We may have gone a little overboard in the realm of this homestead lifestyle. I think I'm 1 week moment away from her having a yard full of chickens and us treating illnesses with poultices. But we're getting our chemistry lesson on this morning. And she begins to explain to me, did you know I could make my own vanilla extract? All I need is vanilla bean and alcohol. Well, this takes me down the rabbit hole. Why are we needing alcohol in our lives? You know, we're a family of non-drinkers. We never have drank, but pure vanilla extract is 35% alcohol by volume. 35% ABV. That makes it about 70 proof. Now, an amusing fact about vanilla extract is my dear sweet mother. She is an absolute teetotaler. She would never drink beer, never drink wine, never drink mixed drinks. The only time she's ever used whiskey is in a cough syrup that the doctor recommended that she give us honey whiskey and lemon. But even in her teetotal, even the fact that she never endorsed drinking or never wanted us to be drinkers, she used to make these milkshakes. She called them banana milkshakes. Now, you got to remember that when I was growing up, we were on a very, very limited budget. And so mom would take a glass of sweet milk and she'd take a banana and cut it up in slices. And then she'd put some sugar in the milk. And then she'd take a tablespoon or maybe even a teaspoon, I don't know, and she'd put pure vanilla extract in this and stir it up, and it was delicious. You sit around and you eat the banana with the spoon, and then when you finish that, you drink the milk. You drink the alcohol laced milk. It's got pure vanilla extract, which is 70 proof. Essentially, we're sitting around here as little kids and we're drinking a White Russian for all practical purposes. I think when my mother realized how much alcohol was in vanilla extract, she nearly fainted. So we're in the kitchen. I'm standing here at the counter. And Jackie Daniels and I are discussing making our own brew. We're discussing making our own vanilla extract. And she says, based on this recipe that I found, it doesn't really matter what you use. You can use vodka or bourbon or rum or brandy. And me not being a drinker, I don't know much about alcohol. I'm a little bit familiar with some things. I don't know what's the difference in bourbon versus rum. Now, I have spent some time in bourbon country in Kentucky. Some of my speaking adventures have taken me there, and they would tell me, hey, when you drive home from the church building tonight, going to the place you're going to stay, roll down your windows, and if you drive past these certain places, you can smell bread burning. Well, they're cooking the bourbon. And so I knew kind of how bourbon was made, but I don't know the difference between bourbon and rum. So I asked Jackie Daniels, the concoctor of all vanilla extract. I said, so what's the difference in bourbon and rum? What exactly is rum? And her response caught me off guard because she closed one eye, she twisted her mouth, she tilted her head, and she said, I don't know, matey, but they fought a lot about it. I was unprepared for my wife's pirate impression. It was way too early in the morning and way too close to my recent surgery. It's the most pain I've been in post-surgery because one should not laugh that hard with fresh wounds in their abdominal area. Yet Captain Jackie Sparrow is standing in my kitchen and she's extolling the virtues of rum in her best pirate accent. And it was way more than my narcotic influenced brain was prepared for. And I nearly fell in the floor laughing while clutching my stomach. Now there's a website and it or a site. I don't know if it's a website. It's a little thing, and it's called Weird History. And according to Weird History, the pirate accent, the "Arr, matey" and "Shiver me timbers," originated when Robert Newton, an English actor, first portrayed Long John Silver in the screen adaptation of Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. Newton basically used an exaggerated version of his own accent. He's from an area in the UK called the West Country. And when you know that Captain Silver came from Bristol, and that's not Tennessee, he used this accent, and this representation, this presentation is the foundation for what we consider to be all pirate accents. And it lives on today, and it's even lives past this movie in international talk like a pirate day. Now this region, this West Country, it had a population of people, and their dialect was a little bit different. They emphasized the "r" sound when they spoke. They would substitute "be" for "is" and "are." You be walking the plank instead of you are going to walk the plank. And then if you told them something and they affirmed it, instead of saying yes, they would substitute "r" for their assent or their affirmation of something. Now, all this is according to a linguist, and this linguist's name is Molly Babel. Now, just think about that. You've got a story in the book of Genesis about the mixing up of all the languages, and it took place at a site known as the Tower of Babel. And now you've got a linguist named Molly Babel. You can't make this stuff up. Anyway, in truth, pirates came from all over the world. And some of the pirates were military men. Some of the pirates were what we would call privateers. Some of the pirates would have spoken in a educated dialect. Some of the pirates would have had a formal English. They would have had French, Welsh, and even Scottish accents. But what we consider pirate slang is basically just sailing terms that kind of got accommodated into Hollywood language, and they've taken on different meanings over time. You know, words like avast and ahoy and landlubber and shiver me timbers. All those things were just things that these guys would have said as sailors, but instead of it becoming sailor language, it became pirate language. In fact, the word ahoy was just a greeting. You know, two ships are getting close to each other, and you want to hail the other ship. You would simply yell ahoy. And it was so common in language that Alexander Graham Bell said, hey, that's how we should answer this thing we call the telephone. You should pick the phone up and say ahoy. But it was replaced by a suggestion. It was replaced by a proposal by a gentleman named Thomas Edison. He said, I think we should use the word hello. And hello was not in common use among most people as a greeting. It really originated as a version of the word hello, H-A-L-O or H-O-L-O, and you'd shout it really, really loud to get somebody's attention. But it actually became the standard greeting for the way you answer the telephone. Now, hello, H-E-L-L-O, as a greeting and spelled in its present form, was featured in a publication in 1833. And the publication is titled Sketches and Eccentricities of Colonel David Crockett of West Tennessee. Apparently, this mountain man, this southerner, would greet people and say hello rather than the normal standard formal greeting. And way before Colonel Crockett ever used it, long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, General Ben Kenobi would greet people right before a lightsaber duel. And his first introduction in the very first Star Wars movie was his conic Ben Kenobi, hello there. But I digress. You realize that pirates talk the way they talk because we think pirates talk that way. Or when we're imitating pirates, we talk that way because we think we sound like pirates. If you imitate a pirate, you have to close one eye, you have to tilt your head, and you have to growl your words. But our rendition, our production of the pirate speech is only because a guy named Robert Newton did it as his interpretation of it. It's Robert Newton's version of a pirate, and that's what it sounded like, and so we think that's what pirates sound like. You realize that in the Gilbert and Sullivan's December 31st, 1879 production, The Pirates of Penzance, the pirates didn't talk that way. In fact, it was not until 1950 that all pirates suddenly talked the way Newton talked. So when we talk like a pirate, we're actually talking like an actor pretending to be a pirate, and we're not actually talking like an actual pirate. We imitate what we think is authentic. But because of our short view of history, we have this thing where we tend to see things only from our generation, only from our perspective, or only from our experience. And from the vantage point of the way we see things, it's very short-sighted. You know, nobody's ever given a lot of deep thought into, hey, how did pirates actually talk? We take an actor in a movie in the 1950s, and because he did it that way, we think that's the way it was always done, and we've just kind of given a pass to all people who imitate pirates, whether it's correct or incorrect. Our understanding of things and the way we perceive things oftentimes becomes the only way we are willing to look at those things. Yeah, some pirates used the West Country accent, but not all of them, and probably not most of them. We believe what we've been told to believe based on what others believed or at least wanted us to believe. Be careful, all dogs bite. That will sting you. All dogs are dangerous. Did you realize tomatoes used to be considered to be poisonous? You can't eat poke salad. You should eat eggs. You should not eat eggs. Sugar is bad for you. Sugar is good for you. Fat is bad for you. Fat is good for you. Climate is or is not changing. Masks work or don't work, and everybody should have a vaccine. Just look how many times the accepted, what we consider to be, well, everybody knows that. Everybody knows that's how a pirate talks. Just think how many times the accepted science has been wrong, has been misleading, or purposefully deceptive. And then we get this information about what works or doesn't work, or what it sounds like or doesn't sound like, and we pass it along generationally, or we accept it generationally. And we believe what we believe, and we've never actually thought about what or why we believe it. We've never questioned this. We've never taken the time to ask, did it really sound that way? We've never asked ourselves, is this accurate? We've accepted. That's just what a pirate sounds like. Everyone accepts that. We believe that because that's how it has been portrayed. And nobody ever wrote a book on this is how you should talk like a pirate. Well, at least not until International Talk Like a Pirate Day. We talk like we think pirates talk because that's the way one actor talked when he was given the job to talk like a pirate. But just because that's all we've ever seen, just because that's all we've ever heard, just because that's all we've ever known, does not mean that's the way it really is, and does not mean that's the way it's supposed to be. Just because that's what we've only ever seen doesn't mean it's accurate. It doesn't mean it has to be that way, and doesn't mean it has to keep being done that way. You see, you're playing a role. You've got a part to play. And you may be a dad, a mom, a husband, a wife, a friend, a neighbor, a son, a patriot, a sibling. It's your role. And in your role, you get to decide what it looks like. In your role, you get to decide how it sounds. And if you decide it needs to sound differently, you can make it different regardless of how you've seen it portrayed in your past. Using the tool of shortwave radio, World Christian Broadcasting literally covers the world every day with the gospel. They use 2 large curtain antennas. One is located in Anchor Point, Alaska, and the other in Madagascar. They send out messages that are recorded at their international home in Franklin, Tennessee. They make available 40 hours of broadcast every day. The broadcasts are made in English, Chinese, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Korean, English for Africa, and Arabic. They would love for your group to visit them. You can bring your ladies group, your youth group, or your men's group. Just give them a call at 615-371-8707, 615-371-8707, or you can go to worldchristian.org, find the Donate Here button, and make a financial contribution to support this work that literally covers the world every day with the gospel. World Christian Broadcasting, in cooperation with Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure. The mission of Heritage Christian University is simple. They aim to advance the churches of Christ by equipping servants through undergraduate and graduate programs. Heritage Christian University produces effective communicators of the gospel, focusing on evangelism and a commitment to Scripture. Heritage Christian University is accredited by the Association for Biblical Higher Education and offers the following degrees: Associate of Arts in Biblical Studies, Bachelor of Arts in Biblical Studies, Master of Arts, Master of Ministry, and Master of Divinity. Since 1968, Heritage Christian University, formerly International Bible College, has offered affordable degrees in biblical studies, allowing graduates to thrive in their ministries without the burden of loan debt after graduation. For more information about Heritage Christian University, visit www.hcu.edu. That's 3 W's and a dot. hcu.edu. Heritage Christian University is a sponsor of Keeping Up with Jones, the Lonnie Jones podcast adventure.